Asshole.
Am I the asshole giving our son child support money but not telling him where it came from? My wife and I have been married for 14 years. When we met, she already had an 11-year-old son who is now 25. He has started his own family, lives on his own, has given us 2 grandkids. We married within a year, moved out, and raised him together. His father was never in the picture. He was in and out of jail and was physically abusive to both my son and my wife, so he had no custody or visitation. Once every few years, we'd receive a check for a few $100s. We'd give some to our son and use the rest towards bills. To this day, he owes well over a $50K. Today, to our surprise, we received a payment for $3,000. My wife wants to give our son half, but we both know that our son will not only insist on the full amount being given to him, he'll get very upset about it as well. His wife, knowing her for many years, will likely also tell him he deserves all of it. I believe my wife is entitled to at least half for obvious reasons. We are considering giving him the money, but not telling him where it came from. Am I the asshole? Am I the a-hole for not buying spare travel tickets in case of an emergency? My sister is getting married in Wales soon. The family has to travel up there since most, if not all of us, live quite far away. We've all got our own ways of traveling, and I've opted to take the coach. For those who don't know, a coach is like a fancy bus that goes further distances than normal buses. My younger brother was worried about traveling with his partner, so I offered to pay for both of their tickets, including the return. Since we'd be traveling together and I have the app, I can show all 3 and we get seated. No problems whatsoever. He and his partner agreed to that. There is a 2-hour rest before a swap, and other small rest points where people can walk around for 10 minutes or so. I did say to them that they can go out and walk around if they want to, but they have to follow the rota. I did warn them that if they miss the coach, I won't be buying new tickets for them, and they'd have to figure it out themselves. I'm not made of money and tickets get pricier the sooner you need them. This got a negative reaction, not just from them, but from my mom as well. They all seemed to have the impression that I was going to cover any sudden coach costs when I never said I would. All I did was cover the main ticket for the trip up and the return. The only reason I offered was because they were panicking about how everyone's going to get up there. Should I just buy new tickets for them if they miss the rota? Am I the a-hole? Am I overreacting? Walked out on my mother's birthday dinner. Last night was my mom's birthday, so the whole family got together at a nice Italian restaurant we usually go to. About halfway through, my brother stood up to make a toast. Instead of saying something sweet about my mom, he decided to joke about how I'm the family screw-up who can't keep a job or a relationship. Happy birthday, Mom. You raised 3 great kids. And then there's you, still trying to figure everything out. Everyone laughed. My mom laughed. I just sat there burning up inside. I've been through a really rough year, divorce plus job change, and instead of support, they turned it into a punchline. I told my brother to shut up, and my dad immediately jumped in saying, "Don't ruin your mother's night." So I grabbed my stuff and left. Later, I got a barrage of texts in a family group chat saying I embarrassed the family and made it all about me. Now I'm sitting here wondering, am I overreacting? Or was I completely justified in walking out? I can take a joke, but with the way my mind has been recently, I took it seriously.
Am I the bad friend debating skipping Thanksgiving due to inappropriate comments by family members? I'm debating skipping Thanksgiving dinner due to some inappropriate comments made by family members last year. But maybe I'm overreacting. My uncle kept looking me up and down, talking about how good I looked and how he would like to get with me if he was my age, and said a few other gross things. My aunt made bodying, shaming-esque comments towards me, not in front of the group, thankfully, and asked me personal questions. She did ask in front of everyone if I just can't wait to get married and have kids like my cousins. But I'm single, so it was an awkward no. My other aunt has been harassing my mom for more info needed about me, and I'm sure we'll make it a big deal at the event, relentlessly asking her about where I'm working, unemployed at the moment, and who my boyfriend is. Don't have one. These comments make me uncomfortable because I hardly ever see these family members, so I don't feel like it's their place. Because I am currently living at home, I don't know how I can get out of this, or if I should. Thoughts?
Am I the asshole? Adult daughter lives for free with us, wants us to pay to upgrade Wi-Fi for her. We love our daughter, and we have a good relationship. She had a breakup and moved home in July temporarily, 6 or 12 months. We are more than happy to help out, and she can stay as long as she needs to. But she is complaining about our Wi-Fi coverage and how it's affecting her ability to do her job remotely. She can be pretty frugal and has asked us to pay for an extender that will cover her bedroom. We said no way after laughing a little bit. To be fair, our AT&T Wi-Fi has always been spotty at either end of our large home, so we can understand her issue. However, she's a grown woman with a good job, making good money, and has significant savings, significantly ahead of where others her age are, late 20s. My wife and I are retired empty nesters, and our Wi-Fi works perfectly well for us. She has other options to connect, plenty of room in the finished basement, but doesn't like to work there due to furniture, 1 room, or lack of windows, other 2 rooms. We can afford to do whatever we want with our house, but find it off-putting that she wouldn't just rent the extender and be done with it. We don't charge rent, we pay for groceries. She has dietary restrictions, so she does buy some of her own as well. And we cook or provide dinner 6 days a week. She cooks 1 dinner a week. We believe her expecting us to pay for this since it's your house is over the top. Mind you, we're also paying for a family vacation. Flights, hotel, rental car, attractions, park tickets, meals in a month. We get that children get used to parents paying for everything, but this one has us alternately laughing out loud and scratching our heads. She refuses to pay anything for the extender on principle. And so I guess it's on principle that we're refusing. Are we the assholes?
Am I the asshole for not eating meat at my partner's family dinner as a vegetarian? I, 21 female, was at my partner's 21 male house the last couple of days. We are university students, and I usually go to his home once a week during summer. His mother will usually cook dinner once whilst I am at their house. She is a lovely lady, and we get on well most of the time. However, at the dinner table, she served me meat, and I kindly refused and said that I had eaten beforehand, but really appreciate being offered a meal. She knows I've been vegetarian for the last few months, but tries to include me on family dinners, which I do appreciate, but will decline as what she cooks will often contain meat. I politely declined and reiterated I was grateful to be over at her house, yet I didn't eat meat for personal reasons. She sighed, rolled her eyes, and it made the dinner very uncomfortable. It was the most awkward 20 minutes ever. I honestly considered caving and just eating the meat to fix the horrible social situation, but couldn't bring myself to. My boyfriend even seemed annoyed with me, and I feel quite terrible. I am vegetarian for animal welfare reasons, and hope to move towards being more plant-based someday. I feel terribly rude and wonder if I should have just sucked it up. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my in-laws they can't bring their child over anymore? My husband and I have a 3-week-old. His sister's son is 14 months and unvaccinated. She does not have any plans for vaccinating him. We told them today that we no longer feel comfortable with them bringing him to our house unannounced, and they are upset saying that I'm trying to divide our families. For extra context, our 3-week-old spent the first 2 weeks of her life in the NICU due to needing a life-saving surgery, and we are also waiting on the testing to come back for cystic fibrosis as my husband and I found out we are carriers after conception. They are making me feel like a horrible person for wanting to vaccinate my child and for not wanting their son around yet.
Would I be the asshole if I insist my stepson be allowed to eat meat? Here's the thing. My wife and I were both single parents when we got married. She is a vegetarian and was raising her kids as vegetarians. My oldest, shortly after the wedding, decided he also wanted to be a vegetarian. Fine. The vegetarian food is already being bought and prepared, so if that's what he wants to do, it's no skin off my nose. Well, a few days ago, my wife's oldest son decides that he is sick of being a vegetarian. He wants to eat meat. My wife did not have the same laid-back reaction I did when my son stopped eating meat. She categorically forbade him to eat meat. She said after all these years, his body won't be able to handle it anyway. I said we could start him out on chicken stock and see how he reacts to that, and she was pissed. We ended up arguing, and she told me under no circumstances are her kids eating meat and to stay out of it. I said, why was it okay for my son to stop eating meat, but not okay for her son to start? She said that's different. I said, oh, because your lifestyle is morally correct and mine isn't? She said, I was being an ass. My stepson still really wants to eat meat. The smart part of me wants to be quiet, and the stubborn part wants to support him. Would I be an ass if I refused to drop this?
Am I the a-hole for suggesting my in-laws stay at an Airbnb instead of us leaving our home with our kitten? My parents-in-law are visiting us for a week. Because our space is small, 50 mateys, they would have to sleep on the couch, which they wouldn't like, so I suggested booking an Airbnb for them. That way they could spend the day with us, enjoy homemade meals. My husband insists on that. They will get mad if it isn't the case. Then go out and return for dinner at our place before spending the night at their Airbnb comfortably. My husband hated this idea and was furious. He wants us to leave our apartment for them and stay at an Airbnb ourselves, taking our 3-month-old kitten with us, because they hate cats, and then come back every morning to prepare meals, do house chores for them, and spend the day with them. Am I crazy for thinking this sounds unreasonable?
Am I the a-hole for calling a thief a thief? I'm 28 male. My wife is 27 female. Together since 2018. Her brother, 31 male. Last year, he was caught in a robbery attempt at his hometown. His act was so dumb that the security cams video got viral in town. It was so embarrassing that my wife's parents had to come and live with us after constant taunting and indirect mocking by the community. He got 1 year in prison. Fast forward to now, he's getting released next week. Everyone's anger is diminished, and the family has decided to host a party upon his arrival. I find it weird, but considering the family love, it's understandable, and I'll join the celebration. Today, while my wife was Googling about the decoration services near the house, I jokingly asked her to keep the Deco Thief themed, as it will most suit her brother. It was meant to be a light joke, I said, only to her. But she didn't take it well and said that her brother is not a thief. I said that, keeping jokes aside, it's wrong to say her brother is not a thief. He is indeed a thief, and it's a big thing which cannot be swept under the carpet just to keep family honor. We would never embarrass him over it, but we can't deny the truth. She got very pissed and isn't talking to me for now. So, guys, am I the a-hole here? This happened in our native language, where same word is used for thief and robber, so don't get confused. By special, I mean special by actions, poor life choices like robbery. Intellectually, he's fine. Sorry for making a confusion, guys. English is not my main language.
Am I overreacting? My boyfriend flipped out that my 12-year-old lets me see him in the bath. My 12-year-old son hasn't hit puberty yet and is still very childlike. I always give him privacy when he asks for it. He gets dressed in his room, and neither me or his older sister go around with no scant clothes on. However, sometimes when he's in the bath, he will call me into the bathroom to talk about something. The other day, my boyfriend saw me go in to talk to him and really flipped out on me, saying it was nasty, weird, inappropriate, and basically treated me like I was doing something dirty and horrible. My argument has been that if my son's comfortable with me seeing him in the bath at this point in his development, then it isn't an issue. And of course, I would never go into the bathroom uninvited if he was in there. My daughter was about 11 when she stopped wanting me to come into the bathroom with her, and I respected that immediately. I have also once had a discreet wee in front of my son when I was absolutely bursting and he wouldn't get out of the bath. On this occasion, he had already asked me to come into the bathroom to talk to him. Nothing was showing and he turned to face the wall. Obviously, I didn't do it for the fun of it. I thought my bladder was going to explode. My boyfriend says these are not healthy boundaries, and I need to teach my son it's wrong, even if he doesn't feel uncomfortable. And I'm setting unhealthy habits for later life. I'm autistic, so sometimes I do struggle with boundaries, but on this occasion, I can understand why my boyfriend has a different opinion, but I don't think I did anything that horrible. Who is overreacting here? Have I been inappropriate without realizing? Throwaway account because I don't want this to be on my main. I feel quite embarrassed, horrified, and confused that I have to ask this on Reddit.
Am I the buttface for not interacting with my significant other kids? My 26 male significant other 33 female had invited her kids to our new apartment for the second time this month. I only found out last minute while I was on work. The first time she came, the youngest, being a people person, kept playing with me, but now she avoids me because according to the father, I made him jealous. So to give him what he wanted, I stayed in the bedroom and avoided the children the whole time they were there. I talked with significant other and told her I was just going to stay inside until I am ready to go to work. Not long after noon, the eldest daughter, 15 female, came and knocked on the bedroom door with her siblings and asked to talk. At first I said no, closed the door, and gave it some thought, because from experience, you can come to an understanding with her or her father 1 minute and the next, they are self-sabotaging and messing up peace. Long story. I decided to give it a chance to talk, only to find out her dad was outside our apartment going on about the same BAs the police already tried to explain to him for the last 6 months. Apparently, it's a bad thing if you do exactly as he wishes, but also bad if you don't.
Am I the a-hole for cutting off my mother-in-law after I had a stillbirth? I don't even know where to start. I, 32 female, went through a stillbirth 6 months ago, and it was the most painful experience of my life. My husband, 38 male, and I are absolutely shattered. While we were just trying to survive day by day, my mother-in-law, let's call her Karen, somehow made it even worse. I always tried to keep the peace and not rock the boat for my husband's sake. For background, she has never liked me. She wore black to our wedding just to make a point. She criticizes me constantly, how I cook, how I dress, how I'm not good enough for her son, and so on. My husband has defended me on numerous occasions, but when he does, it seems to only make her worse. But after the stillbirth, Karen crossed a line, and I can never forgive her. Instead of comforting us, she said over and over, "I'll never get to hold my baby now, and you couldn't even give me a grandchild." Karen acted like our loss was only about her. She never once acknowledged the baby was ours, or that I just went through hell physically and emotionally. It felt like she reduced my baby, my child who I carried and loved, to nothing more than a missed opportunity for her. I told my husband I am done. I cannot have this witch in my life anymore. My husband agreed. We cut her off completely. No visits, no calls, no updates. I feel terrible. My husband has been amazing and supportive, but I feel bad that I cut his mother off. But I felt I had no choice. Now some extended family are saying I'm being too harsh because she's grieving too. But in my eyes, she's always been cruel, and this was the final straw. So, am I the a-hole for cutting off my mother-in-law after my stillbirth? Am I the asshole for asking my father-in-law to wear shoe covers or take his shoes off in our apartment? I, 31 female, live with my husband, 33 male, in a small one-bedroom with a very light rug. I had foot surgery 6 weeks ago and do my physical therapy at home on the rug with a mat. Because of that, we set a temporary no-shoes rule to keep it clean and avoid tracking in dirt and germs. We put a bench by the door, a rack, slippers in multiple sizes, and a box of disposable shoe covers for folks who can't or don't want to take shoes off. Everyone's been fine with it, except my father-in-law. He's visited 3 times since my surgery and refuses every time. He says it's rude to tell guests what to do with their shoes, and I'm not wrestling with boots in your doorway. I offered him shoe covers, a stool, a long-handled shoehorn, even said he could keep a pair of slide-on slippers here. He said shoe covers are demeaning, and the last time he came in anyway with muddy treads. I had to spend an hour spot cleaning, which sucked because standing still hurts right now. After the 3rd round of arguing, I told him calmly, "I want you here, but if you won't remove or cover your shoes while I'm recovering, let's meet at your place or out for lunch." He got quiet, left early, and later told my husband I banned him from our home. My husband thinks I embarrassed his dad and should have let it slide for family harmony because it's temporary and not worth the drama. I told him the rule applies to everyone, even delivery drivers, and I'm the one who has to clean this crap up when I can barely bend. I don't know if I'm being too strict or made it into a bigger deal than it had to be. I get that shoe customs vary, and I don't want to be a jerk over a rug. But I also feel like we offered a lot of reasonable options and got nowhere. Am I the asshole for enforcing the shoes off or shoe cover rule and suggesting we meet elsewhere if he won't comply? Any scripts or compromises I'm missing here? Am I the asshole for refusing to give my brother-in-law a free massage even though I own a massage studio? So, I basically run my own little massage therapy business. I rent a comfy studio, have regular clients, and honestly, I work really hard to keep the business moving. It's my full-time job, not just a side hustle, and it pays my bills. This weekend, my sister and her husband came over for dinner. At some point, my brother-in-law casually asked, "Man, I've been so sore lately. Can you just give me a quick massage while we're here?" I kind of laughed it off and said, "That's what I do all week. You can book a session with me if you want, though." He looked offended and said he thought families should get freebies. My sister chimed in and said, "Yeah, come on, you can't just do a 20 minutes back rub for him. It won't cost you anything." I told them it does cost me time, energy, and the skills I spent years training for. If I start giving away free massages every time someone in the family feels sore, I'd basically be working for free half the time. They got kind of grumpy about it and said I was being stingy, that it's just a massage and I should want to help family. Now I'm feeling weird because I don't want to be selfish, but I also don't think it's fair to expect me to work for free just because I own the business. Am I the asshole for not giving my brother-in-law a free massage?
Am I the asshole for blocking all contact with my step-siblings as well when my dad said I don't meet the standards to be in his family? A while ago, my dad called me out of the blue to tell me that he didn't like that I mentioned I had a sister, whom he has no contact with, when someone asked if I'm only child at the wedding of my stepbrother. He also told me that I don't fit in his family, because he remarried into a rich family, and although I live very comfortable, I am completely self-made but not rich. We're speaking millions in his new family. Basically, he wanted to cut off contact with me and my kids because of these things. It's in total the third time he dumped me, but stupid me was too loyal and always kept him in my life. Now I'm really done with him. But because it hurts, I decided to also block my step-siblings. Didn't grow up together since there was never made room for me, so not a tight bond between us, although they did nothing wrong to me. I just don't want to stumble upon their happy family life. Am I the asshole for cutting contact with them as well? I didn't explain it to them, just did it because I know I will get shit from multiple people if I try to explain because they adore my dad. He is everything to them, he never was with me. My dad is also a clear narcissist and is masking, so his environment will never believe how he treated me because I'm one of the few who knows him a long time and knows when he's bullshitting to have people adore him. Am I overreacting for leaving my sister's wedding early after she made a joke about my job in her speech? I, 18 male, just graduated from high school, and I have been working part-time as a busser at a restaurant. It is not a glamorous job, but it's super chill. And honestly, I kind of love it. I'm saving money for school, I get along with my coworkers, it's honest work. I guess my family likes to tease me about it sometimes, but whatever. My older sister, 25 female, got married over the weekend. During her reception speech, she did this whole thing thanking everyone. Then she looks at me and says, "And thanks to my name for leaving the dishes behind to bless us with his presence." Everyone laughed. I didn't. I was mortified. It was so embarrassing, and I should tell everyone was looking at me, especially all of her friends and my whole extended, loud family. I have been insecure enough about not having a real job yet compared to my cousins, etc. I tried to brush it off, but my parents kept teasing me about it at dinner. I don't know. It just felt like the whole wedding was ruined for me. After about 30 minutes, I quietly got up and left and went home. I did not make a scene or a fuss. Now my sister is upset, saying I ruined her wedding by storming off early and that it was just a joke. My parents are upset as well, saying I embarrassed her by being sensitive. But my friends are saying she was out of line and I was absolutely in the right to get angry. So, am I overreacting for walking out on my sister's wedding? Am I the asshole because my wife and I won't let my brother's girlfriend teach our daughter about Wicca? My brother's girlfriend, who I will call Sally, wants to teach our 4-year-old daughter witchcraft. Sally said she wants to teach her about the different energies and how they balance and about harmony with nature. My wife and I told Sally that we appreciate her interest in our daughter and wanting to spend time with her, but we don't want her to do that. Sally thinks we are assholes, which, to be honest, I don't care about at all. What surprised me was my own brother siding against me. He said we should let our daughter learn about different religions and that it will be good for her. My wife and I will certainly teach our daughter about other religions, but we don't need Sally to do that. Also, our daughter doesn't need to learn how to practice paganism in order to learn what paganism is and the history of the different types. My wife said she doesn't want my brother's girlfriend to babysit for us because the whole situation freaks her out a little bit. My brother and Sally are both very offended. My brother mentioned the situation to my dad, who is a staunch atheist with absolutely no tact, and made fun of Sally for her silly voodoo nonsense. Now my brother isn't talking to my dad, and everyone is mad at me because this is all my fault somehow? Are we in the wrong? Or is my family crazy? Or neither? Could be neither.
Am I the a-hole for lashing out at my sister for not prioritizing my medical emergency? I was hospitalized today after losing consciousness and fainting onto the floor twice today. When I asked my sister, my emergency contact, and she is aware of that, if she could bring me necessities that I need for my stay, she said maybe Sunday or Monday when it's Thursday. I lashed out because this is serious and I can't even rely on my immediate family members. I've never felt so alone after calling the ambulance alone, getting admitted alone, doing everything alone. P.S. My sister and I are on good terms. It's not like we have bad blood or anything. Since a lot of you are asking, the only reason she gave was I wasn't sure about my schedule, and I completely understand that since she's still attending university, she must have a busy schedule, but it's not like she couldn't show up at any of the visit slots. There are 2 per day. Also, she's not living that far away and doesn't have other responsibilities, as some of you suggested. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to live with my sister? Evening, everyone, so I'll get straight to it. My sister wants to move away, and she wants me to go with her. She wants us to move to a place where it'll be beneficial and exciting for the both of us. Now, I already plan to move, more specifically out of the country, but I do have to agree that me moving to this city would be beneficial for my career, and it'll most likely help me get connections for when I move out of the country for that same career. I love my sister, and I'm glad that she's found something that's great for her and finally living her life. And we were at a festival there and spent practically the whole day there. Something that we both like in that city, and I can see us flourishing there. But I don't want to live with her. I've shared damn near everything with my siblings' family since I came out the womb. I've shared rooms with my sister for damn near a decade, shared a room with my brother for a year and a half. I've only had my own room for about 2 years, not including this present moment. I've shared clothes, money, workplaces with my sister and family. I feel like I haven't had anything for myself, and I might be exaggerating because I don't know what anyone else would say. But I won't mind moving to the same city, I just don't want to live with her. She's really considering moving there just like I've considered moving, and I'm glad that she even thought about bringing her with me. But damn it, I'm conflicted. On one hand, I want to move to that city, but on the other hand, I don't want to simply because there's a chance that I'll be living with my sister. Am I the odd hole for posting a message from my late father's Facebook page? My mom asked if I could convert my late father's FB page to a memorial account. Logged in, and first thing I was presented with was a post from a family member who lives interstate and had arrived in our hometown to visit my late father's brother. Cousin and aunt posted traveled here with the aim to have all the siblings together again, to which I posted under my late father FB account. Thanks for the invite. Ooh, well, the fallout was immediate. People offended whilst others were in stitches. Take it down, rah rah. P.S. Not particularly close to family interstate. They come to our town and never reach out to catch up or say hi. TLDR. Am I the owl-hole for posting on FB as my late father?
Am I overreacting for refusing to let my sister move in after she accidentally sold my stuff during her garage sale? My sister, 29 female, and I, 31 male, grew up close, but our relationship has always been rocky when it comes to boundaries. I let her stay in my house for 2 months while she got back on her feet after a breakup. She didn't pay rent, but she helped with groceries, so I didn't mind. Last weekend, I came home from work, and there's a full-blown garage sale happening in my driveway. Tables everywhere, people browsing. I walk up and see my vintage record collection, my hiking gear, my late father's leather jacket, all with little price tags on them. I completely lost it. She tried to calm me down, saying, "It's just stuff you never use. I thought I'd declutter for you." She even said she'd split the money later. I told everyone to leave and shut the sale down immediately. She got defensive and said I was making a scene. When I told her to pack her things and go, she burst into tears, saying she had nowhere else to go and that I was overreacting to a misunderstanding. My mom is siding with her, saying family helps family, but I feel completely betrayed. Those records were worth thousands, and my dad's jacket was priceless sentimentally. She still doesn't understand why I'm furious. Am I overreacting for not letting her move back in and going no contact for now?
Am I overreacting for wanting to dump my boyfriend because his dad screamed at me and threw a glass? So this happened a couple of nights ago, and I'm still shook. My boyfriend, 23 male, and I, 21 female, have been dating for nearly 2 years. His relatives have always been unpredictable. Sometimes nice, sometimes extremely hostile. I generally steer clear of them because they're volatile, but it was his sister's graduation dinner and he begged me to join him. When I inquired if his parents were okay with me being there, he said yes, that they were fine and just wanted to make peace. I reluctantly agreed. We get there, and things seem fine at first. But halfway through dinner, his dad starts making smart-ass comments about how I'm distracting his son from his career. I attempted to look the other way, but he persisted. And finally, when I quietly said that I didn't appreciate the comments, he snapped. He got up, started screaming at me in front of everyone, and threw a glass across the room. It shattered against the wall, not far from where I was sitting. I was terrified. I started to get up, but my boyfriend begged me to stay and not make a scene. I told him I was already humiliated and scared, but he just sat there like a deer in the headlights while his family acted like this was normal. I wound up leaving anyway, in tears. It's been a couple of days and my boyfriend has apologized, saying that he should have stood up for me. He also confessed that his dad has physically lashed out at him and on other occasions, at his siblings too, so I guess that's just how he is. But it's not the way that I am, and I don't want to start to be that way in my life. I love my boyfriend, but I'll be honest, I don't think it's enough here. I hit a wall, and this was it. Am I overreacting by wanting to leave? Am I the a-hole for not unfriending my niece's mother after my sister-in-law told me to? My brother, 40, has a 10-year-old daughter with his ex-girlfriend. They broke up when she was 3 years old. Now he is married and has a 2-year-old son. Since my brother broke up with my niece's mother, my parents and I have been the ones who communicate with her mom if she needs anything from my brother. He doesn't want to have direct communication with her for some reason. My niece stays with my brother every weekend. Her mom either drops her off at my parents' house or my house after school, and my brother will pick her up 1 hour later. On Sundays, my brother will drop her off, again, with either me or my parents. Her mom picks her up after he leaves. Since my parents and I are usually the ones who communicate with my niece's mom, we decided, along with her mom, that we should be friends on Facebook so everyone can see pictures of her and keep up with how she is doing. It's a way of showing her we are all united and here for her when she needs us. I think it is a wonderful way of doing things. One day, my niece's mother saw a picture of my nephew, my brother's son, on Facebook. She commented that he looks a lot like my niece when she was little. My sister-in-law got mad and messaged us saying we are only allowed to post pictures of her son if we unfriend my niece's mother. I, as politely as I could, told her, well, I'm not doing that. If you want, I can delete the pictures I have of him on my Facebook if it makes you feel better. But I'm not going to unfriend and potentially ruin a relationship with her mother by showing favoritism just because you don't like her. She told me to delete everything and that I am no longer allowed to post anything of her son on Facebook until I unfriend my niece's mother. My brother is mad because I refuse to just do what she says because I hurt her feelings. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my sister the wedding dress I designed, even though she's terminally ill? This is my friend's story, but they told me to post it in first person. So I, 29 female, am a fashion designer and recently launched my own bridal line. One of my designs, a sleek modern gown with hand-embroidered celestial motifs, went viral after a celebrity wore it in a photo shoot. It's my signature piece and very personal to me. I designed it while going through a rough breakup and poured my soul into it. My younger sister, 26 female, who I'll call Lily, was diagnosed with a rare illness last year. It's terminal, and she's been incredibly brave through it all. She recently got engaged to her longtime boyfriend and is planning a small wedding in 3 months. She asked me if she could wear that dress, the viral one, for her wedding. Here's the thing. I had already promised that dress to a museum exhibit showcasing emerging designers. It's going to be displayed alongside other iconic pieces, and it's a huge career milestone for me. I gently told Lily that I'd love to design her something custom, even more beautiful and tailored to her, but I couldn't give her that dress. She got quiet and said, I just wanted to feel like a star for one day. My parents called me heartless and said I was putting my career over family. My aunt posted a vague Facebook status about people who care more about fame than love. Even my fiancé thinks I should reconsider. But I feel like I offered a fair compromise. A custom dress made with love, just for her. I didn't say no out of spite. I said no because that dress represents something bigger than me, and I want Lily to have something that represents her. So, am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he shouldn't have had kids? I, 32 female, have a service dog. I will not be answering questions on my disability, but she is task trained. She does deep pressure therapy. She is not an ESA. My parents host Thanksgiving. A few years ago, my grandma adopted this woman, Barbara 50s F, who is scared of dogs. When she comes to Thanksgiving, my parents board their dog for her. I told my dad that I wanted to go to Thanksgiving, but I was told I couldn't attend because Barbara is afraid of dogs. I told him that I'm his daughter and I should come first. He still wouldn't cave. Finally, out of frustration, I yelled at him that if he wasn't willing to put the needs of someone he chose to create above some random adult lady that my grandma decided to adopt, he shouldn't have had kids and hung up. So, was I the a-hole? Did I go too far? I should add that I don't have an issue with adoption. My little sis is adopted, and she's the same as my bio-sis.
Am I the a-hole for snapping at my wife because she keeps wishing our kids had my features? I am a 30-year-old Belgian Flemish guy, and my wife is 28 and Chinese. We already have 2 sons. One is 5, and the other is 1, and she is pregnant again with our 3rd boy. For context, I am blonde with blue eyes, and my wife has black hair and brown eyes. She's also quite tall for a woman, about 5'8" or 173 cm, and very pale, even lighter than me. Our oldest ended up with brown hair and green eyes, and our second surprised us by coming out blonde and blue-eyed. Since the day he was born, she keeps saying how lucky he is to have blue eyes and blonde hair. At first, I thought it was just her way of complimenting him, but it has not really stopped. Now that she is pregnant again, she keeps saying things like, "Wouldn't it be great if this one also had blonde hair and blue eyes?" It started to rub me the wrong way, so one day I told her I actually hope this kid has dark hair and brown eyes, because it would be cool if he looked like her for once. She did not take it well and said I was overreacting. She said I twisted her words and that she does not favor one look over another. According to her, I should not have thrown that at her, but from my side, I don't think I said anything wrong. Sure, I admit I said it on purpose to give her a taste of her own medicine, but it's also true that both our sons don't really show strong Chinese features, and I honestly think it would be nice if our third son looked more like her. That said, I'll love him either way. So, am I the a-hole? Just to be clear, do not worry about my eldest. I always tell him how beautiful he is, and I mean it every time. I love reminding him how amazing his brown hair and green eyes are. He is a gorgeous kid, and I make sure he knows it. Am I the a-hole for not caring about my mother and grandmother's death and moving out? 25 mm. Both my mother and grandmother passed away this year. I haven't shed any tears nor shown any emotion through the process. My dad and aunt, who are the only family I have left, have completely shut down and no longer speak to me because they think I'm a terrible person because I moved out shortly after all of this happened. For context, I contributed $1,000 a month to the expenses of the house while my father took care of my mother and grandmother. Throughout my 20s, the only reason I stayed was in order to keep the house we were living in. I informed them a year before that when they both pass away, we needed to sell the house so that I can start my life and they can move forward. But they disagreed. My dad and mom were both drug addicts and were never involved with my life past the age of 14. Seeing them OD or go through intense mood changes was a very consistent thing. My father never saved any money throughout his life and is using the house as a retirement plan, although he will probably just blow through it all shortly after he sells the house. He uses terms like, well, I guess I'll just be homeless, or why do you want to leave so badly? Do you not care about us? He says he can no longer work a full-time job, and I think he just expects me to support him. He ran up massive credit card debt doing things with me before the age of 14 and then stopped being able to spend money and going out. He blames me for this reckless spending constantly and holds it over my head saying that I owe him for all of this stuff. Am I the a-hole for leaving the house a couple months after they both passed away? Should I have waited and given him time to get back on his feet?
Am I the a-hole for purposefully eating food in front of my mom when she was on a diet? When I, 27 female, was 8, my mom cheated on my dad and left him for another man. They reconciled when I was 9. When I was around 11, my mom had put on a lot of weight and went on a diet. My cousin and I thought it was funny to eat other food in front of her and be like, this is so good, this is delicious, etc. I recently told my grandpa this story and he said, okay, that's just mean, especially when someone's trying to lose weight. I jokingly said, I just like the food is all. He then said, no, you like being a vindictive, evil little bitch. I personally think this was justified because my mom started it by cheating on my dad. I'm not mad about my mom because it was a long time ago, but I don't think I was wrong for doing that back then. Thoughts? Am I the a-hole?
Am I the a-hole for paying for my dog's surgery instead of helping my girlfriend's sister with her rent? I have a dog that's on the older side at 9 years old, and a few weeks ago, it lost the use of its back legs. I had to get surgery for him because I was not getting him put down. All in all, it came to $8.5K, all of which I had to pay out of pocket for. This wasn't a huge problem because I have plenty saved up, and in general, I am well off. Here's the issue. My girlfriend's sister has been struggling with rent. Apparently, she's behind by a few months and panicking about being kicked out. When my girlfriend found out what I paid for the surgery, she got really upset with me and said I was selfish. Her words were along the lines of, you'd spend $8,000 on a dog, but you won't even help my sister keep a roof over her head? Since then, my girlfriend has been pissed off with me and keeps calling me cheap and selfish for not helping her sister. I feel like I shouldn't have to suffer for another person's poor life choices. The reason her sister is in this predicament is because her relationship fell apart and she's living in a place she can't afford. Further to that, I own a 4-bedroom home, and my girlfriend suggested her sister moving in with us, but I refused. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help her sister? Am I the a-hole for not wanting to go to my stepbrother's house for holidays anymore? I grew up without my dad, and my mom married my stepdad when I was young, and he has 2 boys. Was neither close with his kids or him. We are different people with very different values. My mom constantly asks me to go over to his oldest boy's house that is married with kids there for holidays. I have went the past 2 years, and it's so uncomfortable and not natural. We don't connect or talk. It's an hour away and not worth it to me. I don't want to just do fake family siat. My stepdad's kids don't even talk to me when I go over, nor does his wife. Didn't invite me to their wedding and only say hi when I leave. I feel my parents value them more because they took the same path they did in life, and mine differs from theirs. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to go over there?
Am I the a-hole for leaving the kitchen in a disrespectful state? I, 32 female, just had my parents, 62 male and 61 female, over for dinner. My daughter, 1, was difficult to manage and only wanted me while I was preparing and cooking naan, chicken curry, and rice to finish at the same time. I was alternating between meal prepping and instructing my parents about it while my daughter cried, yelled. My husband, 40 male, was outside doing yard work. This was agreed previously as I had done my yard work earlier, pulling out 2 old plants, weeding, planting a new garden. So this was his opportunity to do what he wanted: lawn maintenance, pull out old plant, assess area for new shed. I didn't ask him for help, just left him to do his thing. We had dinner, dessert, and my folks have just left. My daughter has been in bed for about 5 hours. The first thing he said to me was, I can't believe the state the kitchen was in for 3 adults and a baby. There were pantry items out and not put away, washed dishes out and not put away, and you're trying to cook. Why not clean up first? It's disrespectful. It took me 5 hours to get it to manageable state. I just looked at him in disbelief. I didn't ask him to clean up, and quite frankly, I figured I'd sort out the groceries later and out the clean dishes away once I had a minute to breathe. I told him to stop right there, as the twilight hours were hard today with our daughter, and I never actually asked him to clean up after me. I knew the kitchen was ridiculous, hence I was coming to clean it up after my folks were gone. I paused, commented that the first thing I was going to say was that I appreciated all the yard work he had done. I've been chomping at the bit to get gear done out there, so I loved doing some myself today, and then was keen to let him do what he needed to. Am I the a-hole? I feel like I've slipped into the twilight zone myself. Am I the o-hole for telling my brother to mind his own business after he accused me of using our mom? I, 20 female, have been financially independent since I was 14. I dropped out of school to work full-time and moved out at 17 due to unsafe living conditions at home. My older brother, 25 male, didn't get a job until he was 19 and recently moved back in with one of our parents, rent-free. In June, I was in a serious car accident that left me with L4, L5 spinal damage. Because of that, I had to quit my second job, which put me in a tight financial spot. To help out a bit, my mom and I agreed that I'd come over once a week to meal prep and cook dinner for the household. In return, she pays for the groceries. It's an agreement that works for both of us. She gets a break from cooking, and I get a proper meal without the added cost. My brother found out and told me I'm using our mom because I'm not the one paying for the ingredients and that I need to grow up. I told him to mind his own business, especially since he's living there rent-free and not contributing. On top of that, whenever I come over, he makes comments like, "Why are you here?" or tells me to go home, and he's not joking. His tone is serious and it feels pretty hostile. It's uncomfortable and makes me feel unwelcome in my own family's home. He's now acting like I was out of line for snapping at him, and of course, my mom's on his side. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my sister her miracle pregnancy doesn't excuse her from paying back a $20K loan? 2 years ago, my sister, 34 female, asked me, 31 female, for $20K to cover IVF costs. I don't make crazy money, but I just inherited from our late grandfather. So I agreed, with a written agreement that she'd pay me back within 3 years. She got pregnant, had twins, and I was genuinely thrilled for her. Fast forward, it's been 2 years and she hasn't paid a cent. She recently posted about buying a new SUV for the babies. I gently reminded her of our agreement. She said, "Come on, you wouldn't take money from your niece and nephew's mouths, would you?" I said, "No, but I'm also not their parent." "You are." Now she's crying to our family that I'm heartless for caring more about money than her miracle babies. My parents are begging me to let it go, but that was my savings for a down payment. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not giving my sister-in-law my engagement ring? My 23 female fiancé, 24 male, proposed to me not long ago and did it with one of my late mother ring. She died when I was 10, and it is beautiful. And my sister-in-law, 30 female, saw it this week during a birthday party and keeps saying how pretty it was and how it would look so pretty on her. I thought it was off, but I didn't think much of it. But a few days ago, she full-on said I should give her my ring. I explained that it was mom's, and she said, "So, you can just wear a different ring. That one is so pretty." I was flabbergasted since she knows my mom passed, and I was shocked and just told her to get out. And since her and her husband have been texting me saying I should give her my ring. I haven't told my fiancé since he is on a trip with his father, and I don't know what I should do. My fiancé is in the outdoors with no signal. I have told my sister-in-law to stop and no, but she keeps trying. Mother-in-law disrespects my family at her grandson's first birthday. So this is a story from 2 years ago. My mother-in-law and my parents were coming down for my son's first birthday, so we had a lot of people over. Mother-in-law has no social awareness and often says Awa does things that come off as incredibly disrespectful. She also goes into screaming fits at anyone who disagrees with her, but that's a different story. Anyway, we had given mother-in-law a heads up in advance not to ask my brother about his ex at the birthday party. My brother had been engaged to a girl who randomly, out of the blue, broke up with him and ghosted him about 2 weeks before the birthday party. We all think she was cheating on him, but we have no way of knowing. Obviously, my brother was a wreck. He still drove 4 hours to be there for his nephew's birthday, which was incredibly sweet of him. And anyone in their right mind would know not to talk to someone about dating right after a traumatic breakup. Well, my mother-in-law was never in her right mind. Not 5 minutes into the party, my mother-in-law turns to my brother and says, "My niece is about your age. I should set you two up." She would not stop. We all tried changing the subject, but she went on and on, actually trying to plan a date to set the two of them up. We were all appalled, and my poor brother just looked miserable. Not as crazy as some mother-in-law stories, but I was thinking about it and hoped some people might find it entertaining. Now, just over 2 years later, my brother is with a lovely girl, not mother-in-law's niece, and mother-in-law is now ex-mill.
Am I the a-hole for not forgiving my sister for sleeping with my boyfriend after he made her sick? I, 22 male, used to date Cole, 22 male. We knew each other our whole lives and started dating in high school. 3 years ago, I found out Cole and my sister Millie, 21 female, were sleeping together. I broke up with Cole and went no contact with Millie. She wasn't really sorry anyway, so it's not like she was crying and begging me to forgive her. Our parents were more upset than she was, and they knew it too. Millie never knew Cole cheated on me with others too. I found out after our relationship ended and I didn't even confront him. I just got tested and was lucky to not have caught anything from him. Millie and Cole were together until Millie found out she was HIV positive and that Cole was cheating on her their whole relationship. She decided to regret what she did after her life fell apart. She reached out to apologize, but I ignored her. She's already blocked, and I have nothing to say to her. She can cry about her diagnosis and the Cole being an a-hole to someone else. Millie told everyone about what happened. My parents stood by me and said she had no right to expect forgiveness and or a relationship with me. But Mom's two siblings are telling me how important siblings are and how I need to forgive her. They said she was so young and I should make room for forgiveness for that reason and not let Cole destroy us. My uncle also said as the older brother I should be able to soften my heart to her since it's my job to look out for her, and I failed by not getting her away from Cole. I told him to fuck off with that she and I muted my aunt and uncle for now. Mom told her siblings to leave me alone. They said I should know better than to hold an 18-year-old's fuck-up that she now has to live with for the rest of her life, against her. Am I the a-hole?
Am I the ahole for drunkenly ignoring my parents after my mom called me fat on my birthday? So, my parents invited my partner and I on a holiday for my birthday. They paid for the room. I haven't spent a birthday with them in years. As I've been living abroad, I've spent the last couple weeks back home as my partner, and I are traveling right now, and things with my mom were better than usual. I had been really trying to bond with her, teach her yoga, communicate with her my boundaries, help more than usual around the house. She has a history of commenting on my weight too much. She has her own weight traumas. I'm not obese, just a bit overweight. Fast forward, night before my birthday. We're all out having a nice time salsa dancing waiting for midnight. I tell her I've lost my favorite orange skirt. She proceeds to respond with, "Oh well, didn't you see how fat it made you look in your cousin's Instagram video?" This threw me. It's my favorite skirt. She grabbed a nice family memory, made it negative, and made me feel watched and judged. I proceeded to get immaturely drunk and ignore them and ask them to leave before midnight. My mom apparently had a panic attack and went to the hospital. This isn't the first time she's had a panic attack because I mistreated her. My stepdad has told me I need to try harder with her, and I fucked up by reacting that way. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole? Edit update. Found my skirt. Hotel lobby had it. They apparently called the room and someone answered and said it wasn't the room's. I'm not going to read into it. Thank you everyone for all your comments. This has been a wake-up call, looking at some suggested links and figuring out how to establish the correct boundaries with some professional help. I've never posted here before. Having internet strangers give their perspectives was oddly extremely helpful. Thank you. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my boyfriend to factor my son's survivor benefits into our new household budget? My 38 female son, 15 male, receives $1,100 a month in Social Security survivor benefits from his late father, who passed away when my son was 5. My boyfriend, 40 male, and I have been in an on-again, off-again relationship for a long time. Things have been good recently, and he's proposed. We're planning on getting a house together. I have my son, and he has 3 children, but only one of his kids would be living with us full-time. The house we are looking at is $2,500 a month. My boyfriend's proposed budget is for him to pay $950, for me to pay $950, and for us to use $600 from my son's check for the household. He suggests we can then put the remaining $500 from the check into savings. My current practice is to give my son half of his check, $550, for his personal use, and save the other half for him. I think that since he's almost 17, he should have some control over his money. My boyfriend disagrees completely. He thinks that since we are going to be a family, all the money should be pooled together for shared expenses. He thinks I'm wrong and selfish for not wanting to include the survivor benefits in the main budget. We've been going back and forth on this, and I'm feeling incredibly uncomfortable with his expectation. I feel like the benefits are my son's and should not be used to reduce the adult's portion of the bills. It feels like he's trying to make me subsidize the household using money that was meant for my son's care and future, not to pay his own share of the bills. Am I wrong here? Is it selfish to keep my son's check separate and manage it for his benefit alone? Or is my boyfriend's financial expectation a red flag for our future together? Am I the a-hole for not letting my mother-in-law's brother see my children after a travel day? Yesterday, my wife and I flew back from Chicago with our 2 kids, 4 years old and 18 months old. The flight was delayed about an hour and a half, and during both the delay and the flight, our youngest screamed for around 2 hours straight as the flight was over her regular nap window where she usually sleeps 2-3 hours. Unfortunately, although she was exhausted, she couldn't fall asleep more than 20 minutes. By the time we finally got home, landed at 6 p.m., everyone was wiped out mentally and physically. My mother-in-law actually picked us up from the airport, which was very kind of her, but she talked about wanting her brother, who was in town and driving back to Florida the next morning, to stop by our house that evening to meet the kids. She called him up and tried to invite him over once we got home without even consulting my wife or me. Luckily, I overheard her on the phone and interrupted her and told her flat out, no, the kids were going straight to bed and I refused to accommodate her brother. Mind you, it was already almost 7 p.m., and since we'd been on CST in Chicago, for the kids it felt even later. My mother-in-law was offended that I wouldn't put off bedtime so her brother could see them before he drove back today in the morning. And she made it clear she thought I was being rude when I told her under no circumstances would he be seeing my children that evening, not even my oldest. From my perspective, we had just survived a brutal travel day. The kids were overtired and melting down, and forcing them to stay up so a relative could say hi felt unfair to them and us as parents. I know family is important, but AITAH for preventing a family member who was really only a 5-minute car ride away from visiting my kids?
Should I tell my family about the unpleasant discovery? I need a huge help from the fellow potato army. Quick intro. Me, 38 male, moved away from my home country to Dubai 10 years ago. Had my ups and downs, but I'm still here. Now last year I went to visit my family back home. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but from the distance. I never had a good relationship with my father, and there was always some type of communication issues with him, and a mental abuse, a lot of fights. One of the examples is when I was 9 years old, he was quite drunk. When he came back from work, he sat me down and told me that he is ashamed that I am his son and that he sees me as a disabled, since I am fat. Imagine saying something like that to a 9-year-old. I was, and I still am, a chubby guy, but I wouldn't call myself an obese person. Anyway, last year when I visited them, my dad was kind of drunk again, and we were talking in group with some of his friends. Then, all of a sudden, he told me that 25 years ago he cheated on my mom, and he has another son with that lady. My mind was messed up, but I was holding myself. My answer to that was okay. He was blabbing, and my answer was just okay. He told me that I know him, that he helped him get the job, and so on. BTW, he never helped me with anything, especially getting a job back home. That's why I left the country for opportunities. Now my question is, should I meet my brother? And should I say anything about it to my mom and sister? As of now, I keep my mouth shut since I don't want anyone to be hurt, but IDK, what should I do? I do need help from you guys.
AITAH for telling my dad he looks like my mom's dad? So my father, 65 male, is an extremely narcissistic man. He thinks really highly of himself in all aspects of life, but mainly his looks, and in the process, he puts my mom and others down. He is fair. It's a brown country, so being just a tad bit fair gets you free beauty points. He does dress well. Most of his day is bragging about himself, praising how great a person he is, how he has high ethics, and how great he looks. He often makes up stories like XYZ told me I look Canadian. People don't believe I am this ethnicity. I look so dashing and cool. He is extremely self-involved. In years of marriage, he has never complimented my mom and has only put her down. He puts subtle shade on her color. Things like people don't talk to your mom, but talk to me because I look really rich. It gives me an ick. The self-love is fine. The constant bragging is annoying, and I hate when he puts my mom down. Full disclaimer, he looks very average. Yesterday, he shaved his face after years, and honestly, that took all the charm away. He looks 20 years older for real, but of course he said it's not that bad. At least I have such smooth and fair skin. IDK, what came on to me? The constant putting my mom down. I told him, you look older than mom's dad. He is deeply offended. AITAH for telling my husband to stop setting alarms. Hi guys, I feel like I'm insane. My husband and I have been married for 4 months. We get along great, and this is the only problem in our marriage so far. He works a shift from 7:30 to 3:30, and I work a 9 to 5. We did spend about 3 to 5 nights a week together before this, and he only started doing this within the last few months, after we got married and moved in together, which makes me feel even more insane. He sets alarms in 5-minute intervals from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., so that's 12 alarms. But instead of turning them off when they go off, he hits the snooze button. Again and again and again. So there are 12 alarms snoozed maybe 3 times, meaning the phone is going off constantly. Different alarm sounds too. One sounds like the foghorn from SpongeBob. One sounds like a party anthem. One is just really high-pitched blaring like a traditional alarm clock, etc. He gets upset with me because apparently I often yell at him to turn it the fuck off without remembering later. Right now we're fighting because, and I do 100% remember this, I told him, you can set one alarm and snooze it twice, and if you can't do that, I want a fucking divorce. Well, he did do that, and supposedly he accidentally slept through all 3 alarms and was late for work, and his boss is mad at him. And he's mad at me for not waking him. I was just trying to sleep before my own job. I told him it's not my job to keep track of time, and he'd better suck it up and learn to wake up because I'm not going to listen to 30 alarms in the morning. I'm at my wit's end and don't understand what's going on. As far as I know, he doesn't have any medical conditions related to sleep. I told him maybe he needs to see a doctor, and he says he doesn't. AITAH for not letting my sister's boyfriend borrow my car, even though hers broke down. So, I, 27 female, have a reliable little Honda that I keep in good shape because I commute a lot for work. My younger sister, 24 female, lives about 30 minutes away with her boyfriend, 25 male, and a few days ago, her car broke down. She called me asking if her boyfriend could borrow my car to hang out with his friends since theirs is in the repair shop. I immediately said no, not because I don't trust her, but because I barely know him at all. They've only been together for like 2 months. Plus, my insurance specifically only covers listed drivers, so if anything happens, it would have to be paid out of pocket. When I told her no, she got all mad and said I'm acting like I own a Lamborghini. Her boyfriend apparently made a comment about how I don't get how hard it is for people without cars. That actually got me a bit mad because I worked my ass off to get this car and finally managed to pay it off in full last year. My parents are also split on this, with my mother saying I should have helped family and my father being on my side about all of it. So I'm posting this here to get the public opinion, AITAH,